the sellers are stepping away a little bit here. They still haven't hit the target yet, and I would expect them to go a little bit lower, up to 5,000 or 96 because of VPOC. But hey, hopefully you guys did well over the 2 days that I wasn't around. I think you guys have a really good group of people that can help you. So hopefully you guys, worked with each other and, were able to kind of figure out what's going on in the market. But let me explain what happened on Thursday. I wish I was trading, but it's easier said than done when it's live. But there was something happened on Thursday day on TPO that gave you a lot of confidence on one particular play. Does anyone know what that was on Thursday? I'll give you, I don't want to kind of tell you here, but here's your Thursday profile. I'll give you the intro, right? So here's your value area high, minimal overlap here. Once you dipped here, where we opened the day prior, they came in and you see all the single prints coming in. So when you're trying to figure out, which direction we're trying to go, the market's telling you what here, which way are you going? If you're getting single prints and somebody else is entering market, what is this market trying to tell you?
You want?
Say it again, sorry.
It wants to go up.
Yeah, so it's trying to go up. It has single prints and, right? So the value area high, and the lows, minimal overlap. I wouldn't even call this overlap. It's stacking higher, right? And then you see again here, they closed out of this open here. They closed here, right? But value stayed behind. You guys see that, right? So just pay attention here. Let me see. The value stayed lower, right? And we closed higher. Then we started here and we basically opened, I would say, let me see, this is N or M. So M high was all the way up here. So we opened almost above the range, right? And then they continued higher. But something happened here on this profile. Does everybody see what happened at close on Thursday? That you had a play that basically guaranteed that you could catch maybe 12 to 14 points easy with a 2-point risk. What happened here? Does anyone want to just tell me what happened with price? Like we opened, we got a bunch of low buyers off of the CPOC. So maybe some of you guys took this trade right long. And then, what happened here on the Thursday? What level were you watching to short?
Like I saw a spike.
On Thursday or on Friday?
On Friday. What was the level that told you
okay.
something changed? You're using Thursday for Friday.
Yeah, you're right. And okay. It's the skinny belly you got there with the late spike. I don't know if it's light spike actually or not. It's the double distribution spread.
No, that was H period.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're on the right track. So now keep going.
So the top it's similar to that. I believe when you have a late spike, where it's like you stay above the range, you stay above the you stay bullish. If you break below that range, you enter the bearish range because essentially you're in a double distribution for the entire week.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So now think about, add the component of market confidence to this, I would say, conversation that you just had, right? To your analysis, add the component. What was the market confidence in all of this, right? So if you think about here, market confidence is good. Something is happening here. If you go on a daily, right? If you look at Wednesday and then look at a Thursday, something is going to tell you, hey, something's a little off, right? So let's take a look at it. So here's your Wednesday. I would say it looks pretty good, right? Volume is what? Above average, right? 30-day average volume is up, right?
Mm-hmm.
It shifted up, right? And then the value area, right? I would say it's still within of the prior day, right? So if you look at this crazy day that we had, I forgot, I think that was CPR or whatever that was. There was the value area is huge. So you're coming in here, you're basically engulfed by this value area. It's an inside day. And then you continue higher here, but the volume is what? As you're shifting higher, the volume is going down, even though the value area is finding what? Is finding higher, is shifting higher. It was here, now it's shifting higher, right? But then this is
Aggressive
where the
buyers.
problem. Yeah,
So is
this
this
is
that aggressive buyers step in, push it to the next level, and if those aggressive buyers can't defend their section, then it most likely is going to drop to the bottom of it.
yeah, they needed to close above 43. They had to close above this 43 here, and they did not. Right, so they closed all the way on the bottom, and this 2 days here is telling you a lot. Right, even though the sellers here, we don't really have a strong access, right? We don't have an unfair high. We actually have a poor high, right? Which is telling you that when you look at the, if you go into your IBs, right, your initial balances and how they're breaking, and then you look at your access points, like where unfair highs or unfair lows, right? So here you have a poor low, and I think one day, like here, we have a really, really strong bottom access low, and then a bunch of single prints here, and then look at these single prints here, right? Yeah, see that? Pretty massive, right, that you have right here. There's a lot of single prints that's happening here. So now you want to pay attention. Where are the market participants coming in? Are the market participants coming in when we are below the value? And is there aggressive buying there? Or are the sellers' responsive activity coming in when we reach, let's say, above the first standard deviation of the 2 weeks? Where are they stepping in, right? And if they're defending a certain level, and we can take a look at that, right? So we know about the CPOC. Mine's about 14.5. And if you guys look at this, look at the axis. Every time we came to the CPOC, what does CPOC represent in terms of value?
The middle where they're the happiest trading.
Yeah, this is the fairest price. So if this was the fair price and they're coming in with access, that means that there's some other time frame buyers that are fairly aggressive. Every time they come, they feel like they're going to lose, opportunity to buy there. So now, but when you think about the value area between the Thursday and the Friday, we are shifting higher, but are we shifting with the same confidence that we did between these 2 days?
No.
We're not. And then when you check the volume between the last 2 days, well, when we reached the top, right, what happened? The volume got picked up. So there was a little bit of selling present. So now when I gave you the example of Mr. Bean opening the PC shop, if the volume, if the volume is going up, I'm sorry, if the price is going up, but there's not enough interest to buy something, you as a business owner have to go find a happy price where you sold a lot or where you had the demand. And that's exactly what's happening here. They rejected this and they said, off of the first sig, we don't really have a lot of interest to buy right here. And they're slowing down, so they're trying to find value and they're trying to build value above the CPOC. If we no longer find value, fair point to be the CPOC, where do you think we go?
That VPOC right below it.
Think
The
longer.
value,
Think
the
what is
value
the
low.
right?
Oh,
It would be
bottom.
74 on this run. It'd be from 14. You're most likely going to go 74-ish. You're going to be visiting this shelf, and for me, I guess it's somewhere around. Let's go 65 minutes. Let me make sure I picked the right weeks. One more. Yeah, so right there, right where I had it marked. So about 74. When you think about it, you're not finding value higher. Your auction is slowing down. Your volume is drying up. That's telling you there's not a lot of new business. There's not a lot of new buyers that are interested here. Because if there was a lot of new buyers, what should happen? Oh, they should drive the
It
price
should have
higher.
bounced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should have drove the price higher. They should have been, yeah, should have been bidding and driving it, right? But there's somebody that's selling here, and he's fairly aggressive. Then on 30 minutes, right, which is key for some of you guys that are just kind of learning the TPO right now. To understand this, the market shifted on Thursday a little bit. Somebody stepped in and they shifted a little bit, right? As long as we defend this, we're bullish. But this is what happened. You open here, you run on a lot less volume. I mean, look at the volume, guys, here. This is your 9:30 open. Compare the 9:30 opens to left a little bit, and you'll see that this is a fairly weak open in terms of volume, right? And on the day, it wasn't that great. You close up here, and then immediately, now think about this. You go into the Friday and you close at the bottom. You close below Thursday's open. So that tells you that something changed in the market. Do you guys get it? Something shifted and your shift happened here. If this is a double distribution, right? If you guys think about this Thursday as a double distribution, right? I don't know why is it doing this. All right. Just can't get it to not do that. So this is your double distribution. This level right here where you have the single prints, and you guys have know that from the class. The TPO separate double distributions. And if you're a bullish, you know, you can have a bullish distribution like we do have here. And if you're able to accept, you treat this as a separate day and you treat this as a separate day. It's basically a distribution. There's a lot of volume there. So now as a bull, they couldn't have lost this level that was sitting right here. I'm trying to get it lined up, but I was zooming in about 32 and a quarter. Because they're telling you initially, right, on Thursday, that they did not find value here, that they believe this should go higher. And that's why you have single prints. And single prints basically tell you that, you know, there's emotional buying. And what does the wide value area tell you? What does that signify? Why is that important to note here? That's a pretty wide value area. What does that tell you guys?
Not very confident.
Where 68% of the time was spent trading for that day.
Okay. What about
The selling climax?
think about sentiment? Like when the price is narrow, and we talked about this before, right? If the price can't fluctuate much, that tells you there's not a lot of different participants playing in that market. Remember the oranges example? If you go to a market and there's only one type of orange, right? And there's only one seller, how many different prices are there going to be in that market for that orange?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. Well, let's think about it now. If we go to the same market and it's navel oranges from Florida, and there's 40 tables for those oranges, what do you expect the price to be? Volatile or not?
Low. They keep dropping because of competition, probably.
Well, the price will adjust, means it's volatile. Once you see that being lifted the price to $3 a pound, you might drop it to $2.75. So there's going to be different participants, different sellers. If you're, you know, a wholesale buyer and you buy, you know, 30 truckloads of oranges and your cost is 30 cents an orange, you can afford to sell less, right? That's where the margins come into play, right? And it's kind of similar in the market, right? Dependent what's value to you, it might not be valuable to somebody else, right? So when participants enter, different time frame participants enter, you want to pay attention to that, right? And if they're able to on Thursday drive this emotional buying here, right? It was a little lower, sorry. 32 even. So they drove the price higher and they accepted the prices to be here. Yes, this is a good spot for them. And they said, sure. It's not a bad short on ES, by the way, here coming up. 07. If they cannot accept the prices here, what did Mr. Bean have to do in his example for PCs? Remember, I said he lifted the prices, he opened more stores. What does Bean have to do?
Lower his prices.
He has to lower the prices to the point where they were accepted, where his demand was high. So if your prices were too high here and volume, if you look here on 30 minutes, you have bearish volume anomaly as well. If the prices are not being accepted and volume is not supporting, that's actually weakening. That's really, really weakening profile. And this was your basically acceptance level to the bottom. So now if you think about it, if you crack 32, what level should you have targeted first?
Prior day POC.
Yep, I would say, I mean, I haven't traded this, right? But I would say this would have been a good level of 25. And then ultimately I would have targeted somewhere around 16, right? So somewhere around 16 and a half. And I don't know how that played out, to be honest. And here's this, right? They cracked below this, I guess, at open for you guys. And then they bounced off the POC. But then once they lost it, it worked pretty good, right? It went all the way from 32 all the way to 16. And you don't need a lot of these 16s to make a living off of ES. Right? So does it make sense where the shift happened? There's a really, really big shift that happened. So now if you're bullish, right? If you want to be bullish, what's the level you want to reclaim? Be careful how you answer. I haven't spoken about this yet. I want to see if you're following.
35.
35?
Yeah, the bottom of that. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, but this is played out now. The single prince.
Okay.
So I set a trap for you.
No, you got me.
Okay. Anyone
What
else?
about 5043?
Okay. That would be about 30 points away, so you wouldn't want to play anything in between. I agree. I mean, about 43, we're gonna get a blow, right? You guys know that once you're in a double distribution and you break the high volume node in the top or in the bottom, you do not want to fight that trend. I agree on that. I just think that
The half back of that candle.
okay.
You also got that node there forming in the center.
Yeah, the middle
You have
node.
double distribution.
Guys
but you
are
got that
getting
little
there now.
middle- you
Okay. Okay. Tell me what happened the last 2 days.
The value low I think was like almost the same.
So think about this. Thursday we had the value area low was here at 16 and a quarter, I believe. Yep. The value area low on Friday is at 26.75. On Friday, you had buyers come in, and what is this? B or E period? B period. So initial balance, right? They came in and they bought quite a bit. But notice on Thursday there was also a guy. This would be around 10:30. I'm sorry, 11. He came in and quite aggressively bought a lot, right? That you guys see it? So now the real weakness happens where? Where's the real weakness for the bears? Well, I wrote it, I guess. I should have not written there. The weakness starts here because this is what separated, I believe that was the Wednesday's profile. There was some single prints, right? And they never really fixed this, right? So if you think about this earlier, you mentioned we want to go above that level, which was 35, but that's fixed. Have they ever really fixed this?
So we look to see if those are going to defend that level.
Yeah, we
Because
want
it
to
was
see if they
aggressive buying.
defend. Exactly. This was your emotional people, but look where they closed that day. So when I started talking about it, I talked about this, you open and you close at the highs. When the stock market opens low and closes at the highs, that's really bullish, right? That's bullish continuation. There's no challenge in confidence, meaning like we're going higher and we want to close at the high, right? Just simple concept. When you open, and let's say this one also closed at the high, and then you opened here somewhere around the POC, right? You see how we didn't really, we opened right between the range and the value area high, and you guys know that's my least favorite open. And here, once they cracked it, right, you see that something changed. Something changed in the market, right? And now the only problem that you have in being bearish is what between these 2 days? There's something telling you you cannot be bearish just yet. Short term, you could be. Long term, you cannot be. And what is that?
Like breaking the support level they're at now.
You have a really big node from before at about 49.29, 49.92. You had
Okay.
that from before. That essentially could be the last support point.
Anyone else? You're stared at it.
Haven't broke outside the balance.
Say it again, KJ.
That you haven't broke outside the balance.
Out of the 2-day balance, we're still there. I mean, an ETH, maybe we're below it at 504 right now, right? And we're below this 511. So if they reclaim this 11, let's say tomorrow RTH, it's a big deal. But as of right now, we look weak. But the 2 days thing, what I mentioned, your value area is shifting higher, but the price is going lower. Does that not contradict to you a little bit? Anyone?
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
So that's a contradiction, right? And then you pair, remember I asked you 2 questions. Which way is market trying to auction? Market is trying to go higher. But something happened on Thursday that changed that sentiment. So now if these guys step in, they had single prints again. If they step in here, ETH, they can do a lot of funny stuff, right? They can get people excited. But if they defend this, 5-11-25, even overnight, if they reclaim it tonight, they can probably fly all the way to this 2-day POC sitting. I would say it's a little bit higher than this, 23.5. So, I mean, if you can catch this, right, over 11.5, to this level, it's not a bad trade. So that would mean they probably trapped some shorts tonight over the inventory. And then they're going to look to go back all the way to the top. And I think Bean is talking about the developing node right here. This is where the node's developing right now. When you guys take a full 7-day look, let's expand it. Here's this, right? That's the developing node that's kind of sitting right there. But you see we're inside the 2 double distribution here. So if you crack that, most likely you're going to go all the way to the first 70, 74. Something happened Thursday. I don't know if there was news Thursday or not, but something happened Thursday. Thursday was a big day, right? And then Friday they finished that off.
CPI data or something, I think.
Yeah, I was not collected at all, to be honest. I have no idea what the news were. So does it make sense? Something's off. The bears they're not in control just yet. So we'll see where we open. If we open below this, let's say 14.25, and then we crack 11, that's not a bad short because it's probably going to go to 96 tomorrow from RTH session to here. So below 11, probably 96. And then if they reclaim this in RTH and they hold it, right, you see them not able to crack that. I'm sorry, not able to crack below, then that's bullish, right? You're in a 2-day balance, right? You're in a 2-day balance with the value area shifting higher. And when you look at the volumes just between, the open here on the 30, would you say this day had more or this day had more?
Second day.
Yeah, second day had more. But then at the same time, the POC shifted higher, value area high, value area low, and you have single prints and you have a poor high. So I'm sorry, not poor high here. You have unfair high. So right now they're probably gonna build this, and unless we crack this 2-day balance, I would say it's just gonna look to auction in between again. So for me, if I want to be bullish tomorrow, these are the scenarios I would play. 11 and below, an RTH, I could short that, right? Reclaim on this. If you want to be, a little bit more conservative, a little bit more on the safe side, I would wait about 14.25, especially if they can get into this value area low of 2-day balance 15. If they do get inside of that, right? It depends what your trading style is and how much risk you want to. There's a high chance that they can spike this and run it all the way up here to the 43 level. So if they reclaim that level, then you might have to put your stop loss somewhere below, right? Maybe give them 6 points, 6 points for gaining, let's say 25. That's not too bad, right? So I would definitely watch for that type of trade tomorrow. RTH is going to be fairly important. Where do we open? If we open inside this value area low or a 2-day balance, that's bullish. If they open below it, right, and then they continue, they don't look back, probably have a trend day all the way 96, small bounces at these levels, 88, and then you ultimately look for 74. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? Is anyone confused?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And when the wide area, when you have a wide value area, it just means you have a lot more participation. There's a lot more different participants with different value assessments on the current market. Because how many of you guys would sell your kidneys and go long on SPY right here? Maybe there's people, right? Maybe you have a different opinion, and because stock market's, kind of forward looking, right? Maybe they see the green light, past everything that we are hearing right now. And maybe they're wrong. So it just depends whose perceptions, what is it they're using to figure it out, and their positioning. And you're trying to gauge this as a trader, right? What is the short term doing versus the long term, right? When you guys look at this on 65 minutes, right? And you look at the weekly profiles. Here's your weekly profiles. Same thing on weeklies, right? So let me hydro. We're done with TP on a day. Okay, so now if you guys look, what is happening on a weekly? I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger. What is happening on a weekly here in terms of value?
Moving up.
Okay. Anyone else?
Kind of choppy.
Okay. So let's start from here, right? You had a 2-day balance and then you got a nice little break. There was an uptick in volume, right? And then they consolidated again, right? And they shifted the value low, they shifted the value area high, and then they popped again, right? So now you're consolidating again. But the pops between the values, between the balances are not as strong, right? Here you see a nice, right, on the February 5th week, or 2nd, I'm sorry. You see here a nice pop, right? And value area shifts higher, value area high shifts higher. Is there a similar setup between this week, and this week, and this week in terms of value?
You kind of have a double distribution, but the last week looks more
Well,
like a
think
P
about
than
this.
a
You have a
distribution.
value area low here. Then next second week, you have value area low and value area high shifting. You have value area high, value area low, value area high shifting. Do you guys see that?
They're getting closer, yeah, together.
And last time what they did is that they broke below the value area low, they broke below the range, right? And they probably trapped everyone in, for short side. And then this was a short cover rally and they popped higher.
There's a spring.
Yeah.
But
So
the
now
top
when you,
looks like that little periscope where it's checking for higher highs and fails.
well, yeah. And now if you look at this, you're in a, last week you had a P-shaped profile, which is a little bit more bullish than this profile here, if you
And
ask me. So don't be shocked if we are able to, even if they crack to this, 49.15 level here, that's still a buying opportunity, believe it or not, in this market.
so would that be a spring?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it,
We
then it would
bounce
be
off that?
you would have almost like a monthly balance. You would have 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. If you bring the price back in here,
Mm.
you're gonna be in the monthly balance most likely. But you know, the auction is slowing down a little bit. It's slowing down. The value area highs are not stacking. They're still overlapping higher, right? The value area is still, you know, I would say pretty wide. It's not narrow, right? And the volume, I would say, you know, it hasn't really picked up greatly here, but you see the buyers coming in. When you look at this candle at 9:30 open, that's a hammer candle, and they proceeded to go higher. I don't see, you know, besides this candle with the bottom wick off the POC, that's where we have the single prints. I don't see a lot of aggressive sellers here besides this guy that tried to break the range on the weekly here. And I mean, he quickly got, I guess, erased. So it's slowing down, but long term, we're still very bullish, believe it or not. On a daily, things are looking a little, you know, squirrely, right? If we lose that 11 level, if open tomorrow below, I think it's gonna be the end of me trading you. If we open below that 11 tomorrow in RTH, that changes things. Or if we go higher and then we fail below it, that's an easy short for me. Okay. So, all right. Well, I'll
So
trade
for the
live.
11, for the 11 play, would you look for them to break above and fail, or tap and fail?
No, well, let me see tomorrow's open. If they open above it and then they fail it, that's an easy short right there and then.
Okay.
And I would just risk a little bit more, you know, maybe 14.5.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't give them much, maybe 3 points, but I'll be targeting, you know, 96.
Gotcha.
But there's a high chance that we're not going to go below this, I would say. Let's see what goes overnight inventory, I believe, if I remember. See what we did. Yeah, we're not too far. So 15.5 is your settle. We're 10 points below. So overnight inventory is short. So net short. So let's see what they do tomorrow morning. That'll be an important level for them. And on Delta, there's a little bit of a slowdown on selling, but not a lot of crazy buyers here just yet. Some actually trapped buyers all the way to 06. All right, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow live. I'll trade. Let's see what we can figure out.
Thanks, Shorty.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Night.
Thanks, Shorty.
Thanks, guys. Good night.